Hello everyone, this is Abdul Hadi, CEO and co-founder of FlyRemit, and I'm being joined by Shahrukh Bipari, who is VP Operations and Sales. Thank you everyone for joining. We will wait a couple of more seconds before we start. ये webinar हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों में होगा. We will take questions as well. Q&A आपके right hand side में दिखाई देगा. उसमें आपको questions डाल देने and I will respond to that inshallah at the end of this. I will just bring up the presentation. All right, thank you for joining. We have 100 plus attendees already in the room. Thank you everyone for the massive confidence that you always show on FlyRemit and to bring you this kind of knowledge sessions so that we have good transactions, faster transactions, and we wanted to do this just before the season has started, essentially because we wanted you to be prepared to understand how remittances work, क्या-क्या चीजों का ध्यान रखना है, what all things you have to take care of, and face lower rejections so that your transactions gets processed faster. Let's move on to the next slide. I will just give you a brief about how we are going to do this. I will take my presentation for about half an hour to 40 minutes. That's the maximum time I'm going to take. After that, we are going to devote another 25 to 30 minutes to question and answer sessions. Any question that you have, please put it up in the chat function. It's a third option from the top right. I can see lots of people have already started putting good afternoons. Thank you very much. That's exactly how you're going to put. So whatever questions you put in the chat function or the Q&A, I will take both of them and answer them. Do not repeat your questions. I will go through every question and answer if it is relevant for us. Let's get started. Okay. Okay. So we will stick to travel remittances. We are not talking about all kinds of remittances. That's a very big subject. मैं आपको आज एक practical, executable guide देना चाहता हूँ, जिसको use करके आप ट्रांजैक्शन कर सकते हो. हमें यहाँ पे कोई फेमा एक्सपर्ट नहीं बनना है, हमें यहाँ पे कोई लॉयर नहीं बनना है, हमें यहाँ पे अपना ट्रांजैक्शन क्लीन एंड नीट फॉर्मेट में एज पर रेगुलेशंस करना है. इसके बेसिक्स क्या है ये मैं आपको समझा दूंगा और 99% सिनेरियोस इसके अंडर आ जाते हैं. सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. सो हु कैन रेमिट फॉर ट्रैवल पर्पसेस? कौन रेमिटेंस कर सकता है ट्रैवल पर्पसेस के लिए? इंडियन रेजिडेंट इंडिविजुअल, जो बंदा इंडिया में रह रहा है, जैसे मैं हूं, आप हैं, जो इंडियन सिटीजन है और इंडिया में रेजिडेंट है, इंडिया में रह रहे हैं, वो रेमिट कर सकते हैं ट्रैवल पर्पस के लिए. सेकेंडली, ट्रैवल एजेंट्स, जो आज मेजॉरिटी क्राउड आज इस वेबिनार पे आया है वो ट्रैवल एजेंट्स है. तो वी विल स्टिक टू ट्रैवल एजेंट्स and give examples of travel agents so that we know what is the applicable rule for travel agents to remit monies abroad under LRS or MICE in compliance with FEMA regulations and to ensure that you have faster transactions and lower rejections. What are the types of remittances? There are two types of remittances basically that travel agents are looking out for. One is LRS remittances, the other is MICE. What are these? Let's study them. Yes. So what is LRS? Almost सबको पता है कि LRS is the liberalized remittance scheme, but just for the sake of understanding, this is a limit which the government of India fixes via the Reserve Bank of India and via the FEMA regulations that per person, this is per person. जैसे मैं एक आदमी हूँ, शाहरुख एक आदमी है, हम दोनों individuals हैं. Per person 2,50,000 rupees in a financial year, 1st April to 31st March, हम लोग remit कर सकते हैं individually अपने PAN के ऊपर. That is the limit given by the Reserve Bank of India. It's very simple, straightforward, कोई tension नहीं. Key thing is, let us talk about the A, B, C of LRS remittances. Remember, there are only 3 areas that you have to take care in terms of remittances. They are A, B and C. The A, B, C of remittances क्या है उसको देखते हैं डिटेल में. Let's move on. So LRS remittance का सबसे पहला A is PAN usage consent. सबसे ज्यादा गाड़ी ट्रैवल एजेंट रेमिटेंसेस की आकर रुकती है ये पैन कॉन्सेंट के ऊपर. इसेंशियली आप एक ट्रैवल एजेंट हो, आप एज अ ट्रैवल एजेंट अपने क्लाइंट जो इंडिविजुअल है, जो पैन होल्डर है, उसके बिहाफ पर रेमिटेंस कर रहे हैं। जब आप उसके बिहाफ पर रेमिटेंस कर रहे हो तो आपने उसका पैन नंबर कोड करना है। जब आपने उसका पैन नंबर कोड करना है, ये पैन नंबर उसके कॉन्सेंट से लिया जाना चाहिए ना। ये कॉन्सेंट एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। ये कॉन्सेंट नहीं होने की वजह से ट्रांजैक्शन सब कुछ अच्छा हो, ट्रांजैक्शन जेन्युइन हो, ट्रैवल हैज हैपेंड, एवरीथिंग इज गुड, but still you might get faced with a couple of legal issues which the client himself will raise. So because of the onset of TCS, TDS, now TCC, and lots of taxation on international remittances, PAN usage has to be done in a very, very careful manner. When I say a very, very careful manner, yes, per PAN you can use up to $250,000, $250,000 per PAN use कर सकते हैं, बट इसके कॉन्सेंट होना चाहिए पैन होल्डर का। अब ये कॉन्सेंट कितना जरूरी है, और अगर कॉन्सेंट नहीं लिया जाए तो ट्रैवलर को पता कैसे चले कि आप उनका पैन यूज हो चुका है? वेरी वेरी सिंपल, इसके सारे मैकेनिज्म्स अवेलेबल हैं। टुडे देयर आर इनफ टेक्नोलॉजी, innovations and reporting that the government of India has done, that all of this information is seamlessly available to the customer also. So being a reputed travel agent and to protect your relationship with your end traveler or the end guest, as we prefer to call them, ensure that whenever you book their overseas tour package and a PAN is required to be quoted, you do take adequate consent from him. What does that mean? That does not mean, let me talk what it does not mean. It does not mean that you have taken the PAN for visa purposes and you're submitting the PAN for LRS purpose, for remittance purpose. No, that is not called consent. You have taken the PAN just for your records and you have not informed the guest that this PAN will be used to do your remittance to the overseas supplier, and this PAN, this value of international remittance will be reflected in your 26 AS as well. If you do not tell your customer and give the remittance company or the bank or FlyRemit the PAN to be utilized for LRS remittances, this means it is without consent. What is consent? You have to inform the customer that his PAN is being used and will be punched for LRS reporting. He should give a clear consent. It is always better that you draft a small text exactly like this. Me, so and so, having this PAN number, so and so, has given consent to utilize this value, traveling to so and so on this date, so and so. That is it. Put the PAN card copy on top of it if you prefer. If you don't prefer the PAN card copy, that's also okay. Get it signed, match the signature with the PAN card copy, and you are good to go. Always keep this in record, because it is not that it's only FlyRemit who will come back and ask you for this documentation. It could be any other regulatory agency who can come back and ask you for this documentation. Even if the client comes back tomorrow and tells you, why did you use my PAN? You can tell him that I used your PAN because you gave me this consent, and this consent is clearly available. So do not keep any ambiguity on this part. I am taking more time on this slide because although it looks very simple, this is the most important issue that is being faced by the travel agents today. And this is the most important or the most used complaint mechanism by the customers to come back to travel agents, and you have to keep on giving responses. So why to have all of this confusion? Very, very simple. At the beginning of the transaction, as to how you take the passport copy mandatorily before making any booking. Similarly, take this PAN card copy and the consent from your customer in the way I have told you. If you are looking for formats, our account management team, your account manager will definitely be able to give you a format, and he will be able to help you with this consent format as well. That's not a problem. But ensure that when you take a booking, definitely you take the money, you take the PAN card copy, you take the passport copy, and you take this written PAN consent of the PAN holder. I am telling this repeatedly because this is the most important element in transaction of travel remittances. I hope you understand this, and this is the first A of travel remittances. Last part, अगर आपको ये लगता है कि आपने PAN यूज कर लिया आपके पास क्लियर कॉन्सेंट नहीं है कस्टमर के पास उनके इनकम टैक्स पोर्टल में, जब वो इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न भरते हैं ईयर एंड में, क्वार्टर एंड में, वो जब रिकंसाइल कर रहे हैं अपना इनकम टैक्स रिसीवेबल और पेएबल, उनके 26 AS में क्लियरली लाइन आइटम आता है कि फॉरेन रेमिटेंसेस उनके पैन पर हुआ है और क्या वैल्यू का हुआ है. So if you do not have consent, the customer will any which way come to know that his PAN has been used, and that is a very bad situation that you as a travel agent will be in. So always ensure, just take that sign off from the traveler that he is giving consent for utilizing his PAN. Also ensure that if husband and wife are traveling, if wife has given consent, don't use the husband's PAN. If husband has given consent, don't use the wife's PAN. तो ऑलवेज इंश्योर कि जिसका कॉन्सेंट है वही पैन यूज हो रहा है. अनदर इशू विच कम्स अप इज, सर 10 लोग ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, 4 लोगों ने कॉन्सेंट दिया है पैन का, यही 4 लोगों ने पेमेंट किया है, विच इज फाइन, दैट्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. If 4 people have paid you and 4 people have told that use my PAN and consent for all the 10, that is fine. But in this situation, if 4 have given consent and 6 have not given consent, but you have access to their PANs and you punch the data of these 6 PAN holders also, that is not acceptable. Because these 6 travelers will come back and say that I did not consent to using my PAN for this LRS remittance. Yes, I did travel. Yes, I did go abroad. Yes, I did utilize the service, but I never gave you consent for utilizing my PAN. And you do not have any standing to respond at that point in time. If 4 people have given consent, use the PAN of the people who have given consent. Other traveling party who has not given consent, you should also ensure that these people have given consent to pay for the others as well, if they are in a single group. Usually this is acceptable for husband and wife relationship, for parent and child relationship, and blood relatives as defined under the Companies Act. Third party paying for third parties, unknown parties paying for unknown parties is usually got under scrutiny and it is not acceptable. But if it is a travel group going together, it usually is a family group and the PAN holder has given consent कि मेरे लिए भी यूज करना and मेरी traveling party के लिए भी यूज करना, and that consent is written available with you in a solid unrevocable format, you are in a safe place to play. PAN consent हमेशा लीजिए, सिर्फ PAN नंबर लेना जरूरी नहीं है, PAN नंबर के साथ PAN कार्ड कॉपी रखिए अपने पास and ये consent लीजिए, जरूरी है. That is a key टेक अवे फ्रॉम दिस वेबिनार के पैन कॉन्सेंट लेना जरूरी है. मैंने 7-8 मिनट इस पे स्पेंड किया है, आप बोल रहे होंगे आगे बढ़ते हैं, मैं बढ़ूंगा आगे, बट ये दिमाग में बैठा लीजिए कि अगर आपको ट्रांजैक्शंस फटाफट निकालनी है, जल्दी निकालनी है, क्लीन वे में निकालनी है, तो पैन कॉन्सेंट रेडी रखिए. अगर आपके पास पैन कॉन्सेंट है तो कोई टेंशन की बात नहीं है, ट्रांजैक्शन जल्दी आगे बढ़ जाएगा. लेट्स मूव टू बी. Alright, we went to B, is proof of travel. Now, this is something that you need to keep at your end to ensure and answer all the questions कि भाई travel हुआ है या नहीं. Proof of travel क्या होता है? See, essentially, the Reserve Bank of India says that $250,000 can be utilized per PAN per financial year. But वो blanket नहीं है कि भाई आपने किसी बैंक को बोला कि भाई ये पैसा लीजिए और इसको रेमिट कर दीजिए, मेरे पैन में $2.5 लाख की लिमिट अवेलेबल है. Why are you asking me questions? No, it's not. It doesn't mean there is a blanket approval over here. It is only allowed for certain purposes. जब it is allowed for only certain purposes, there comes the caveat that you need to prove that purpose. जैसे ट्रैवल में आपको प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि मैं एक पैसा भेज रहा हूँ बाहर और ये ट्रैवल पर्पस के लिए है. वेरी सिंपल. प्रूफ ऑफ ट्रैवल क्या होगा? फ्लाइट टिकट्स होगी, होगी, होटल होगा, आपका लोकल आइटनरी होगा, साइट सीइंग का जो भी होगा, एंड वीजा होगा. एनी अदर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन विद लाइक अट्रैक्शंस के टिकट्स हो, कुछ भी हो, दैट आल्सो सर्व्स एज प्रूफ ऑफ ट्रैवल. लाइक अभी जैसे क्रिकेट मैच चल रहा है दुबई में, पीपल वुड वांट टू गो देयर, क्रिकेट मैच का टिकट कॉपी हो गया. एनीथिंग व्हिच प्रूव्स दैट दिस पैन होल्डर हैज ट्रैवल्ड अब्रॉड और विल ट्रैवल अब्रॉड, ये आप अपना डॉक्यूमेंटेशन अपने पास रखिएगा. दिस विल बी रिक्वायर्ड इन केसेस ऑफ एनहांस्ड ड्यू डिलिजेंस. कि अगर कभी कोई बैंक को इशू आता है या बैंक को कोई सस्पेशन आता है कि भाई ये ट्रैवलर this PAN may not be traveling. They may ask for traveling proof, and this is what you need to keep ready, which is always available with you. Ensure that all of these proof of travel is in the name of the PAN holder. ये जो proof of travel है PAN holder के नाम का होना चाहिए. आपने पंच कर दिया PAN अब्दुल का और टिकट लगा दिया शाहरुख का, ठीक है, ये नहीं एक्सेप्टेबल है. हाँ, शाहरुख के टिकट में अब्दुल का भी नाम है, वो एक्सेप्टेबल है. यू गॉट माई पॉइंट. पैन से सब कुछ मैच करते चलना है. पैन लिया आपने, पंच किया पैन हमारे सिस्टम पे, या बैंक को दिया, वही पैन से आप पैन होल्डर से आपको पैसा आना चाहिए और वही पैन होल्डर से कॉन्सेंट भी आपको चाहिए. इसी पैन होल्डर का ट्रैवलिंग प्रूफ भी चाहिए. एवरीथिंग इज इन लाइन विद द पैन नंबर जो आप मुझे देते हो, उससे आप मैच करते चलिए. Let the fact of the transaction may look slightly different, but always ensure if PAN number is the guy who is relevant for you for FEMA and LRS, for FEMA, LRS and RBI consideration and even the bank's consideration. जो PAN ले रहे हैं आप, वो ट्रैवलर होना चाहिए, उसी के नाम का ट्रैवलिंग प्रूफ होना चाहिए, उसी से कंटेंट होना चाहिए और उसी का पैन कार्ड कॉपी भी आपके पास अवेलेबल होना चाहिए. I hope this is very, very clear in your minds now. That is B. Now come to the last part, which is C, source of funds. मैंने already cover कर लिया है इसको, but इसके बारे में मैं थोड़ा और जानकारी देना चाहता हूँ. Source of funds is a very important aspect in cross-border payments. कि जो पैसा बाहर जा रहा है, वो पैसा आया कहाँ से? बहुत ही सिंपल हमारे लिए और आपके लिए. आप लोग ट्रैवल एजेंट्स, मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग स्पेशलिस्ट नहीं है, एंटी मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की आपको जानकारी नहीं है, काउंटरिंग एंड फाइनेंसिंग ऑफ टेररिज्म की आपको जानकारी नहीं है, लेकिन हम लोग यहाँ पे आपको सिंपल फॉर्मूला बताते हैं जो अगर आप फॉलो करेंगे यू विल हैव नो प्रॉब्लम. एंड आई एम अमेज्ड टू सी दैट देयर आर नाउ 200 पीपल ऑन द वेबिनार, नॉट 100. थैंक यू गाइस फॉर जॉइनिंग एंड थैंक यू फॉर द ट्रस्ट दैट यू ऑलवेज हैड ऑन द ब्रांड FlyRemit. मूविंग ऑन. सोर्स ऑफ फंड्स इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, पैन से हर चीज मैच करिए. जो पैन आपके पास आया उसी से आपको पैसा आना है. वेरी वेरी सिंपल. या जो पैन आपके पास आया उसके रिलेटिव से आपको पैसा आना है. रिलेटिव का डेफिनेशन भी दिया गया है. एनी अदर पर्सन पेइंग फॉर दिस विल नॉट बी एक्सेप्टेड. सेकेंडली, जो पैसा आपको आ रहा है, ट्रैवल एजेंट जो पैसा कलेक्ट कर रहा है for outward remittance, this money should be received via banking channels only. So it can come through UPI, it can come through net banking, it can come through credit card, it can come through any channel which is a banking channel. That means the credit should come into a bank account. That is your bank account from the PAN holder's bank account. Simple and straightforward. Cash deposits, slip not acceptable. I would strongly urge, अगर आप कैश ले रहे हो, RBI allows you to accept cash for certain business transactions up to a certain amount. In terms of outward remittance transactions, for cross-border transactions, always insist on payment to be received via banking channels only. Always ensure that you receive the inward payment from your customer. जो आपको पेमेंट कर रहा है वो पेमेंट आपको कैश में नहीं आनी चाहिए. वो पेमेंट आपको बैंक ट्रांसफर से आपको लेनी है. चाहे आप उसको पेमेंट गेटवे का लिंक भेज के लीजिए, या आप उसको क्या कहते हैं क्रेडिट कार्ड से लीजिए, डेबिट कार्ड से लीजिए, नेट बैंकिंग से लीजिए, यूपीआई से लीजिए और बैंक टू बैंक ट्रांसफर से लीजिए. ऑल ऑफ देम आर एक्सेप्टेबल एक्सेप्ट कैश डिपॉजिट. दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. सेकेंड इशू इसमें यहाँ पे ये आता है कि आपने कॉर्पोरेट से पैसा लिया और कॉर्पोरेट का जो पार्टनर है या प्रोप्राइटर है उसका पैन देकर आपने LRS में रेमिटेंस कर दी. यहाँ पे आप देख रहे हैं पेमेंट आई कंपनी से या कॉर्पोरेट से या सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप से, एंड रेमिटेंस आपने करवा रहे हैं उसका LRS में, उसका पैन कोड करके. दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल एंड मेजॉरिटी रीजंस ऑफ रिजेक्शन इज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. पेमेंट आ जाती है कॉर्पोरेट से, इसलिए आ जाती है कॉर्पोरेट से क्योंकि कॉर्पोरेट कहता है कि मैंने TDS कटा देना है. आई विल एक्सप्लेन टू यू अहेड कि भाई इसका एडवांटेज क्या है. TDS कटा देना है, TCS एप्लीकेबल नहीं होता है वहां पे. तो कॉर्पोरेट से पेमेंट हो जाती है ट्रैवल एजेंट को. अब ट्रैवल एजेंट कहता है कि भाई या तो आप मुझे लेटर दीजिए जो KYC होती है कॉर्पोरेट पेमेंट्स की, जो मैं एक्सप्लेन करूंगा आगे भी, वो दे दीजिए और रेमिटेंस हो जाएगी। अगर क्लाइंट कहता है कि ये डॉक्यूमेंटेशन आपको नहीं मिलेगी, आप मेरा पैन यूज कर लीजिए, दैट इज द ओनर ऑफ द कंपनी और द पार्टनर ऑफ द कंपनी, जहां से आपको पैसा आया है, वो पार्टनर कहता है या वो ओनर कहता है या सोल प्रोप्राइटर कहता है कि आप मेरा पैन ले लीजिए और मेरे पैन पे आप रेमिटेंस कर दीजिए। दिस इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल इफ इट इज अ पार्टनरशिप फर्म। तो अगर कंपनी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी है, वहां से पैसा आया है, तो डायरेक्टर्स के पैन पे रेमिटेंस नहीं हो सकती, दैट कैन नॉट बी डन। अगर पार्टनरशिप का कंपनी है और पार्टनरशिप फर्म से पैसा आया है ट्रैवल एजेंट को और पार्टनर्स का पैन दे रहे हैं और LRS में रेमिटेंस करने बोल रहे हैं, ये भी नहीं हो सकता। हाँ, सोल प्रोप्राइटर अगर है, सोल प्रोप्राइटर का पैन लग रहा है और पेमेंट जो है वो सोल प्रोप्राइटर की कंपनी से आया है। सोल प्रोप्राइटर की कंपनी और सोल प्रोप्राइटर एक ही होते हैं, उसमें कोई डिफरेंशिएशन नहीं है, लीगल डिफरेंशिएशन एज पर कंपनीज एक्ट। हेंस ओनली इन सोल प्रोप्राइटर केस वी कैन एक्सेप्ट कि भाई सोल प्रोप्राइटर का पैन लगा है लेकिन पेमेंट जो है वो सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप फर्म से आया है, दैट इज एक्सेप्टेबल बिकॉज ये दोनों एक ही हैं, देयर इज नो डिफरेंशिएशन बिटवीन दिस। लेट मी रिपीट माई सेल्फ कि अगर सोल प्रोप्राइटर है, सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप कंपनी से पैसा आया है, दैट इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम, LRS में रेमिटेंस हो सकता है। पार्टनर्स का पैन लग रहा है, पार्टनरशिप फर्म से पैसा आया है, दिस इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल बिकॉज दीज टू आर सेपरेट एंटिटीज। The partner is a separate person and the partnership entity is a separate entity altogether. Same case, directors का पैन लग रहा है और प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी से पैसा आया है, ये भी एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है बिकॉज both of them are separate entities. Very very simple. Again, source of funds में ensure करिए कि आपको पैसा बैंकिंग चैनल से ही आया है। Collect funds for cross border payments only through banking channels. This is again, PAN consent is one. The second is taking money from in cash for cross-border payments. These are the two biggest reasons for rejections in cross-border payment transactions. इसी वजह से delays होती, इसी वजह से सारी issues होती। If you ensure कि ये सही है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी। Let's move on. Now, there's another peculiar concern about B2B remitters. So these are people who do not face the end customer, but they source transactions or they get transactions from another travel agent. यहाँ पर एक ही कंसर्न है, ये लोग भी रेमिटेंस कर सकते हैं, यहाँ पे भी एक ही कंसर्न है कि पैन कॉन्सेंट एडिक्वेट होना चाहिए। तो हियर इज वेरी सिंपल, देयर इज अ कस्टमर ने ट्रैवल एजेंट 1 को पैसा दिया, ट्रैवल एजेंट 1 ने ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 को पैसा दिया, एंड ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 इज द वन हु वांट्स टू इज अ कंसोलिडेटर एंड वांट्स टू रेमिट द मनीज आउटसाइड टू द ओवरसीज सप्लायर। नाउ ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 कस्टमर्स के टच में नहीं है, लेकिन कस्टमर के टच में ट्रैवल एजेंट 1 है, उसने तो कॉन्सेंट लिया। यही कॉन्सेंट जो मैंने पहले स्लाइड में समझाया, वही कॉन्सेंट आपने ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 को भी सप्लाई कर देना है। इफ यू वांट टू कीप द एंटायर कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स कॉन्फिडेंशियल, ईमेल आईडी कॉन्फिडेंशियल, डोंट पुट दैट इन द कॉन्सेंट, वी डोंट नीड इट। पैन कार्ड कॉपी है, नीचे में टेक्स्ट है जो हमारा अकाउंट मैनेजर आपको दे देगा, वो टेक्स्ट नीचे डाल दीजिए और कॉन्सेंट ले लीजिए। कीप पासिंग दिस कॉन्सेंट ऑन। Very, very simple. It will solve all problems and it will keep your documentation absolutely clean and will never ever land you with any kind of question or compliance issues ever. If you have this paper in your hand, it's very, very simple. इसी को वेरीफाई करने के लिए हम लोग मोबाइल नंबर मांगते हैं, इसी को वेरीफाई करने के लिए हम लोग ईमेल आईडी मांगते हैं कभी कभी। अगर आपके पास ये पेपर है, this consent is there which has been achieved from the customer's end and it has flown with the transaction. कितने भी एजेंट हो, ट्रैवल एजेंट 1 हो, ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 हो, ट्रैवल एजेंट 3 हो, ट्रैवल एजेंट 4 हो, कितने भी हो, ये पेपर आप पास ऑन करते जाइए। If you are able to collect this documentation and if the entire industry is able to keep this sanity in place, the industry will truly become an industry and we will not have any of the adverse laws which are cumbersome being imposed on us, which may not be very friendly. This TCS law, this TDS law, all of these, this LRS reporting under PAN has been put in place because unfortunately, certain small elements of the travel fraternity or certain elements have infiltrated the travel fraternity, imposing as travel agents, utilizing this method and doing money laundering. So our travel industry needs to get organized. इफेक्टिव एंड कीप द डॉक्यूमेंटेशन एब्सोल्युटली क्लीन। बहुत ही सिंपल है। आप पेमेंट ले रहे हो, पेमेंट के बगैर आप कोई काम नहीं करते। जब पेमेंट ले रहे हो तो आप ये कॉन्सेंट का डॉक्यूमेंट भी लीजिए। आप पासपोर्ट कॉपी तो लेते ही लेते हो, जैसे पासपोर्ट कॉपी लेते ही लेते हो वैसे ही ये कॉन्सेंट का डॉक्यूमेंट भी लेकर रखिए। आप आजकल पैन कार्ड कॉपी भी ले रहे हो या पैन कार्ड नंबर ले रहे हो, जैसे पैन कार्ड नंबर ले रहे हो पैन कार्ड का कॉन्सेंट भी लीजिए वो पैन होल्डर से। अगर आपके पास ये पैन कॉन्सेंट है फ्रॉम द पैन होल्डर, सारी कहानी खत्म, फटाफट रेमिटेंस होगी। देयर इज नो, वी हैव चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस एट द बैक एंड। If those checks and balances are fulfilled, remittance will not be hampered at all. So B2B agents के लिए ये advice है। ये travel season में for the next 3 to 4 months there is going to be a lot of pressure on you to push out remittances and make payments. Ensure that from your travel agency client, when you collect a file, also collect this consent. If he does not have it, he can go back to the client and collect it. Client has no problem in giving this consent. If the client has a problem in giving this consent, that means it is good to not do this transaction, because वो बाद में जाके कंप्लेंट रेज करेगा आपके खिलाफ। Because 26A में उसको क्लियरली दिखाई देगा कि आपने, in spite of the fact that he told you not to use his PAN, you went ahead and used it, and it's a huge crime. And this is something which banks and the Reserve Bank of India is not willing to tolerate at all. कि भाई कंसेंट के बिना अगर कोई चीज या कोई प्रॉपर्टी या कोई फाइनेंशियल डेटा यूज हो रहा है, द गवर्नमेंट एंड द रेगुलेटर्स आर वेरी वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट ऑन सच अ वायलेशन। So please do not use any PANs without the consent of the PAN holder. B2B transactions में भी वही कंसर्न है कि भाई अल्टीमेट ट्रैवलर का PAN consent है या नहीं। अगर वो आप प्रूव कर सकते हो, there is not much verification that needs to be done at our end. Let's move on. I hope you're putting your questions in the Q&A section. Some people have asked to speak. We do not generally allow people to speak because it will keep on going and it will consume a lot of time. We want to finish this in the next 33 minutes. We will wrap this up in the next 33 minutes, and I will wrap up my presentation in the next 10 minutes so that we have decent time for a quick Q&A. I'll move a little faster क्योंकि यहाँ से simpler views है transactions के लिए. There are additional concerns that may arise at the time of doing transactional KYC. At certain times, there may be an additional documentation requirement apart from the ABC of travel. So ABC of travel हमने पहले देख लिया। ABC of travel के अलावा मुझे कभी-कभी प्रूफ चाहिए होंगे, बैंक्स को कभी-कभी प्रूफ चाहिए होता है कि कोई ट्रांजैक्शन जो उनको सस्पिशियस लगता है और they want to randomly do it or whatever is their methodology, they will pick up certain transactions and they will ask to submit additional documentation, which is usually called enhanced due diligence. इससे कोई डरने की बात नहीं है, कोई टेंशन की बात नहीं है, बहुत ही सिंपल होता है कि they just want to get further documentation that if you have it, good, it is well and good. So what are these enhanced due diligence documents? They're either the passport copy, the PAN card copy, or the bank statement to a certain source of funds, or proof of travel also कभी-कभी मांग लेते हैं. That's about it. All of this thing is nothing outside the scope of a travel agent's business, outside the scope of travel agent's own internal documentation. So it is nothing which needs to be done only for the purpose of remittance. No, everything is within the scope of a travel agent's work and within his business process itself. Just that हम hygiene नहीं maintain कर रहे हैं, हम process efficiencies नहीं maintain कर रहे हैं, हम documentation का record properly maintain नहीं कर रहे हैं, इसलिए कभी-कभी दिक्कत आ जाती है और इसीलिए कभी-कभी transactions delay हो जाती है. If we properly follow the A, B, C and this additional documentation process, I do not foresee any delay in your transactions and the transactions will be processed very very smoothly. FlyRemit के digital processes के बारे में मुझे बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. It is simple, fast and price efficient as well. Let's move on. TCS के बारे में थोड़ा समझ लेते हैं. कुछ सवाल भी होंगे TCS के ऊपर. I'm happy to answer those. Very very simple. There is overseas tour package and there is standalone travel. ओवरसीज टूर पैकेज के ऊपर TCS लगेगा फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट, उसमें कोई थ्रेशोल्ड नहीं है. स्टैंड अलोन सर्विसेज में थ्रेशोल्ड है, थ्रेशोल्ड तक TCS नहीं है, उसके अबव TCS है. मैं लेट मी रिपीट दिस इन इंग्लिश अगेन, दैट देयर आर टू काइंड्स ऑफ ट्रैवल दैट वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ. One is an overseas tour package, the other is standalone travel. Now, what is an overseas tour package? An overseas tour package means any two services combined: flight plus visa, flight plus hotel, hotel plus sightseeing, hotel plus car, attractions plus something, anything. Any two services combined together and remitted will be considered as an overseas tour package. On this, TCS is applicable from the start itself. When I say from the start, that is even for 1 rupee TCS is applicable. यहाँ पे सरकार ने स्लैब बढ़ा दी है. अभी जो नए स्लैब प्रेजेंट किए गए हैं वो 10 लाख के हैं, पहले 7 लाख के थे. अभी जो नया प्रपोजल आया है अंडर द न्यू बजट फॉर 2025-26 फाइनेंशियल ईयर, इट इज 10 लाख रुपीज. नाउ 10 लाख रुपए तक ओवरसीज टूर प्रोग्राम पैकेज अगर हो, दैट इज दो सर्विसेज कंबाइंड हो, तो 5% TCS कलेक्ट करना है. मतलब लाख रुपए का पैकेज है तो आपको कस्टमर से 1,05,000 रुपए कलेक्ट करने हैं. अगर यही पैकेज ओवर द ईयर इज इन एक्सेस ऑफ दैट 10 lakh rupees, then you will have to collect TCS at the rate of 20%. जब 1 लाख रुपए पे 5,000 रुपए नहीं कलेक्ट करेंगे, जब 1 लाख रुपए पर 20,000 रुपए कलेक्ट करेंगे एस TCS. सो 10 लाख तक के 5% है, 10 लाख के ऊपर का कलेक्शन अगर हो, वही सेम पैन होल्डर से, वही सेम फाइनेंशियल ईयर से, at that point in time you will have to take 20% from the customer and pay it as you pay TDS. वही सेम प्रोसेस है. आपके चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट आपको हेल्प कर देंगे पेमेंट में, उसमें कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है, कोई डिफिकल्ट काम नहीं है. जैसे TDS पे होता है वैसे ही TCS भी पे होता है. इट इज एग्जैक्टली द सेम, फॉलो द सेम रूल्स, सेम प्रोसेस. स्टैंड अलोन ट्रैवल क्या होता है? एक ही सर्विस, आप सिर्फ होटल बुक कर रहे हो, सिर्फ वीजा बुक कर रहे हो, सिर्फ फ्लाइट बुक कर रहे हो, सिर्फ साइट सीइंग बुक कर रहे हो, सिर्फ अट्रैक्शन बुक कर रहे हो, सिर्फ क्रूज बुक कर रहे हो. ओनली वन सर्विस which is coming as a comprehensive, as a standalone service, or not comprehensive, as a standalone service, that will be considered as a standalone travel. यहाँ पर सरकार आपको एग्जेम्पशन देती है कि 10 लाख तक कोई TCS नहीं है. 10 लाख के ऊपर अगर हो तो 20% TCS लगना है. So the same travel can be reported as a combined travel or can be reported as an individual travel, depending on its underlying nitty-gritties, but taxation is separate for both. It is very, very, very clear now. इसके अलावा कोई कंफ्यूजन अपने दिमाग में मत रखिए. एजुकेशन के रूल्स अलग हैं, मेडिकल के रूल्स अलग हैं, अदर LRS के रूल्स अलग हैं. मैं आज, क्योंकि यहाँ पर 220 ट्रैवल एजेंट्स मेरे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं और मैं आज सिर्फ ट्रैवल एजेंसीज के बारे में बात करूंगा. ट्रैवल एजेंट्स के लिए यही एक स्लाइड है जो आपके लिए जरूरी है, बाकी कोई स्लाइड आपके लिए कोई काम की नहीं है. TCS is the responsibility of the travel agent who is collecting funds from the PAN holder. B2B ट्रांजैक्शंस में अगर कस्टमर है, ट्रैवल एजेंट 1 है, तो ट्रैवल एजेंट 1 को TCS कलेक्ट करना है कस्टमर से और डिस्चार्ज कर देना है और कहानी खत्म कर देना है. ट्रैवल एजेंट 1 अगर ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 को पैसा दे रहा है इंडिया में ही, ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 इज द कंसोलिडेटर और ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 रेमिटेंस कर रहा है, तो TCS की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 पर नहीं आती. लेकिन ट्रैवल एजेंट 2 अपने ट्रैवल एजेंट 1, दैट इज हिज एजेंसी क्लाइंट जो है, B2B कंसोलिडेटर का एजेंसी क्लाइंट जो है, उससे वो क्लियरली ले ले प्रूफ कि या तो वो TCS पे कर दिया है या वो TCS पे करेगा, and he is going to discharge you of all the obligations and liabilities. जैसे कि आप मेरे पोर्टल पर भी आते हैं, वहां पर भी हम कहते हैं कि बैंक को, हमको और कोई भी रिलेटेड पार्टी को आप लाइबिलिटी से अब्सॉल्व करोगे, क्योंकि TCS आपने इंश्योर किया है कि भरा है या भर दिया है. अगर आप B2B कंसोलिडेटेड हो, B2B कंसोलिडेटर हो, तो आप पे लाइबिलिटी बनती नहीं. लेकिन क्योंकि रेमिटेंस आप कर रहे हो, आपको इंश्योर करना है कि इसमें TCS डिस्चार्ज हो गया है कि नहीं. लाइबिलिटी आपकी नहीं है, लेकिन जिस एजेंसी क्लाइंट से आपने पैसा लिया उसकी लाइबिलिटी बनती है. आप इंश्योर करें कि आपकी एजेंसी क्लाइंट ये TCS डिस्चार्ज कर दे. अब तक शायद बहुत मैसिव लेवल पे नोटिसेस नहीं आई हैं, बट प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड द गवर्नमेंट and the income tax department has complete information as to who are remitting monies abroad. In addition to that, they also have complete first-hand information as to who are the list of people who are traveling abroad on international flights. there is a notification which is available on the internet, which has been published in the Gazette of India, which tells that the Immigration and Customs Department at all international airports are mandatorily required within a few hours of flight departure to submit the list of actual passengers with the identifiers. They will definitely have the passport number with the identifiers that they carry to be reported to the income tax department. ये नोटिफिकेशन है, या आप गूगल कर लीजिए, आपको दिख जाएगा. इसका मतलब ये है कि सारे डेटाबेसेस कनेक्टेड हैं. अगर आप ये सोच रहे हैं कि आपने पैन पंच कर दिया, टीसीएस नहीं भरा, सरकार को पता नहीं चलेगा, गलत. 26 AS में आपका रिकॉर्ड है. द गवर्नमेंट नोज दैट दिस पेमेंट हैज बीन डन फॉर एन इंटरनेशनल ट्रांजैक्शन. Yes, they may come back and ask you whether it was an overseas tour package program or a standalone travel. If it is standalone travel, then up to 10 lakhs, it is exempt. Above 10 lakhs, 20% TCS is applicable. If it is a tour package, which is combined, two services combined, then from 1 rupee till 10 lakh rupees, you will have to pay 5% and 20% above 10 lakh rupees. So, सरकार को clear पता है, the government of India has clear information as to who is traveling abroad through the immigration department. That list is being shared. They also know that the payment has been made on a particular PAN. What is the income of this PAN holder and what is his tax liability that has he discharged TCS, yes or no. So there is no chance of escape. Please ensure that TCS is also paid. And it's very simple now. It has been couple of years. It is here to stay. ये जाने वाला नहीं है. Don't think कि भाई ये आज की कहानी है, कल नहीं होने वाली है. आप कई साल से देख रहे हो और हर बजट में इसका मेंशन है और हर बजट में जब से ये एप्लीकेबल हुआ है इसके ऊपर कुछ ना कुछ अमेंडमेंट्स हैं और या कुछ ना कुछ चेंजेस हैं. That means it is here to stay. ये मत समझिए कि भैया TCS आया, जैसे FBT एक बार आया था, फ्रिंज बेनिफिट टैक्स आया, 1 साल 2 साल आया, फिर चला गया. चार्जेस आते हैं, ये सब आते हैं, वो आते हैं जाते हैं. दिस इज हियर टू स्टे. एंड माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, हमें इंडस्ट्री में रहना है तो इसके साथ ही रहना है. सिंपल, स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. ये हो गया टीसीएस की बात. लेट्स मूव ऑन टू माइस. वेरी वेरी सिंपल. अगर आप कॉर्पोरेट से पेमेंट कर रहे हो और कॉर्पोरेट स्पॉन्सर कर रहा है, किसी का पैन नहीं लग रहा, एलआरएस में नहीं रिपोर्ट करना है, वो ट्रांजैक्शन माइस में होगी. अगेन कॉर्पोरेट पेमेंट कर रहा है, that is partnership firm, sole proprietor या private limited company. Sole proprietor की ऊपर enhanced due diligence होती है. Partnerships and corporates can sponsor either their employees or themselves as directors or partners, or their non-employees who are business associates. Let's say a dealer network or any of the top performers or any of the consultants that they want to take abroad. All of this remittances which can be done under MICE. MICE is a general term which is being used, which is meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions. Under FEMA, it's not exactly this term. It is called corporate travel. Corporate travel or business travel as more specifically it is called. Business travel वो travel है which is paid by a business, not to be punched under the individual travelers who are going. उनका पैन नहीं लगना है. ये हो गई माइस. माइस की कंडीशंस बहुत ही सिंपल है. किस किस को कर सकते हैं हम लोग? तो बिजनेस ट्रैवल एक्सपेंसेस कर सकते हैं. तो ट्रैवल, होटल अकोमोडेशन, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज कैन बी रेमिटेड अंडर माइस. इवेंट मैनेजमेंट पेमेंट्स, जैसे कोई वेडिंग का पेमेंट हो, कोई इवेंट करवा रहे हो, कोई प्रोफेशनल स्पीकिंग एंगेजमेंट हो, ये सब करवा रहे हैं, इसका पेमेंट कर रहा है. तो पेमेंट्स टू ओवरसीज वेंडर्स फॉर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग इवेंट्स, ये भी माइस में जाएगा. Last is incentive travel, rewards for group of travel sponsored by companies for employees or business partners. So rewards or group travel sponsored by companies, that is private limited company, a partnership company or a sole proprietor, for employees, उनके अपने employees के लिए या business partners के लिए, associates के लिए. They may be non-employees also, that's fine. This is simple and straightforward as MICE. इसकी केवाईसी क्या है? ये अलग सी केवाईसी होती है, ये आप याद रखें. सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. स्पॉन्सरिंग लेटर फ्रॉम द कॉर्पोरेट. तो जो कॉर्पोरेट पैसा दे रहा है, अगेन सोर्स ऑफ फंड्स, जो कॉर्पोरेट पैसा दे रहा है वही कॉर्पोरेट से आपको एक लेटर लेना है. इसका फॉर्मेट फ्लाईरेमिट टीम आपको दे देगी कि किस फॉर्मेट में आपको लेटर लेना है. ये स्पॉन्सरिंग कंपनी का जीएसटी, स्पॉन्सरिंग कंपनी का पैन, एंड द लास्ट थिंग इज the passport copies of the travelers. Why do we need passport copies of the travelers? So that we know कि भाई कौन जा रहा है, who is going, just for information sake, not for reporting. This passport copies are not reported anywhere. They are definitely submitted to the bank, but I don't think it is being reported in a centralized portal anywhere and being reported to the income tax, because income tax department goes with the PAN number. This transaction is going without PAN, as since it is sponsored by a corporate entity. वो corporate entity की KYC हमें चाहिए होगा, which is essentially the PAN number of the corporate and the GST certificate of the corporate. GST certificate नहीं है corporate के पास, वो MICE नहीं कर सकता. PAN नहीं है corporate के पास, वो remittance नहीं कर सकता. Simple and straightforward. Do not come back with these questions, because these remittances will not happen. तो लेटर चाहिए, फॉर्मेट FlyRemit टीम दे देगी, GST चाहिए, पैन चाहिए और ट्रैवलर्स का पासपोर्ट चाहिए. एंड द लास्ट थिंग इज, ये माइस है, इसको प्रूव करने के लिए ट्रैवल एजेंट की अकाउंट में हमें क्रेडिट चाहिए होगा फ्रॉम द स्पॉन्सरिंग कंपनी. इफ द स्पॉन्सरिंग कंपनी इज डूइंग द ट्रांजैक्शन ऑन क्रेडिट, FlyRemit will not be able to do the transaction. We need proof of payment, then only we can do the transaction. Simple and straightforward. अगर आपको कॉर्पोरेट ने पेमेंट नहीं दिया है, you can't show the payment in your bank statement, then FlyRemit will not be able to do your transaction. Because here it is a very tricky transaction. It is not being reported under LRS, so we need to absolutely ensure that this is a genuine transaction. अगर genuine है तो पेमेंट आएगी आपके अकाउंट में, वही पेमेंट देने वाला कॉर्पोरेट आपको लेटर भी देगा, आपको GST सर्टिफिकेट भी देगा, आपको अपना पैन भी देगा और लिस्ट ऑफ ट्रैवलर्स देगा, इसके साथ अपना उनके पासपोर्ट कॉपीज भी देगा. अगर जेन्युइन माइस पेमेंट है, इट इज सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड एज यू कैन सी इट ऑन माई स्क्रीन. इतना ही 4 डॉक्यूमेंट्स हमें चाहिए, नथिंग एल्स. हाँ, एनहांस ड्यू डिलिजेंस अगर कभी जाता है तो वहां पे प्रूफ ऑफ ट्रैवल तो चाहिए होगा, अगर वो एनहांस ड्यू डिलिजेंस में जा रहा है. So that's the key areas of LRS transactions. Transactions for travel agents, LRS और MICE. मैंने दोनों कवर कर लिया, TCS भी कवर कर लिया. एक छोटा सा पॉइंट है कि TDS लगेगा या TCS लगेगा MICE ट्रांजैक्शन पे. If TDS is deducted by the corporate, then no TCS is applicable. ये सिंपल फॉर्मूला है कि अगर आपका कॉर्पोरेट आपको एज अ ट्रैवल एजेंसी पे कर रहा है और TDS काट के पे कर रहा है, then you as a travel agent are not liable to do anything on the TCS element. There is no TCS applicable for you. Simple and straightforward. और best solution यही है कि आप corporate को बोलिए 2% TDS है, जो भी under whatever clause that they are paying you, they pay you less of TDS. आपका फिर कोई headache ही नहीं है. TDS corporate ने deduct कर लिया, TDS corporate भर देगी, आपको उसका सर्टिफिकेट दे देगी. अगर आपको इनकम टैक्स लाइबिलिटी आपके TDS से कम है तो आप भर के उसका रिफंड ले लीजिए अपने इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न में. आजकल तो 45-50 डेज के अंदर ही आ जाता है. पहले जमाना नहीं रहा कि मतलब 1 साल लग गया, 2 साल लग गया. विद इन 30-35-40 डेज मैक्सिमम, विद इन 2 months रिफंड्स आ जाते हैं आजकल, अनलेस एंड अनटिल दे हैव क्वेरीज अबाउट योर फाइल. सो इट इज वेरी सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड थिंग. सॉरी, जहां TDS लग गया वहां TCS नहीं लगेगा. एंड ऑफ स्टोरी, कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है इसमें. नाउ नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. देयर आर कपल ऑफ इश्यूज, 3 की इश्यूज जो आप लोग हमेशा इस बारे में बात करते हैं, और इसके बाद Q&A सेशन स्टार्ट होने वाला है. आप अपने क्वेश्चन डाल दीजिए अपने चैट फंक्शन में, एंड आई विल एंश्योर दैट आई विल टेक दोस आंसर्स. ऑलराइट, डिलेड क्रेडिट. सबसे बड़ा इशू ये आता है कि भैया मैंने तो पैसा भेज दिया और पैसा पहुंचा नहीं. अब पैसा पहुंचता क्यों नहीं है? आपको जब स्विफ्ट कॉपी मिल जाती है, आपको ट्रांजैक्शन एडवाइस मिल जाती है, दैट मीन्स द मनी हैज बीन रेमिटेड. इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है. FlyRemit से अगर आपको कोई ट्रांजैक्शन एडवाइस मिलता है या कोई स्विफ्ट कॉपी मिलती है, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है कि पैसा नहीं गया. बट most of you will be knowing that any money getting out of India goes through the Swift channel. Swift काम करता है. Swift basically एक WhatsApp टाइप या ईमेल मैसेंजर टाइप एक टेक्नोलॉजी है, which is secured. Sender is secured, sender का एक आईडी है और रिसीवर का एक आईडी है. बहुत ही सिंपल है. इट इज समथिंग वेरी सिंपल एज ईमेल और व्हाट्सएप. सारी पेमेंट जाती है स्विफ्ट मैकेनिज्म के थ्रू. तो इंडियन बैंक को अगर लेट्स से दुबई में पेमेंट करनी है, दुबई में कोई डीएमसी को पेमेंट करनी है, तो अकाउंट नंबर तो दुबई के डीएमसी का होता है, डेस्टिनेशन इज दुबई, लेकिन पेमेंट जो है ना वो जाती है करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक को, जिससे इंडियन बैंक का पार्टनरशिप होता है। These are usually American banks. It could be either JP Morgan, Bank of America, or it could be Citibank. In certain cases, there's Standard Chartered as well. So these are international banks which have created networks and have connected all the banks on their SWIFT terminals. So Indian bank sends to one correspondent bank, and that correspondent bank then sends it back to the ultimate beneficiary. कभी कभी डिले इसमें होता है कि इंडियन बैंक ने रेमिट कर दिया, इसलिए आपको स्विफ्ट कॉपी मिल गई। करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक हैज सर्टेन क्वेरीज ऑन द बेनिफिशियरी और ऑन यू। आपकी रेमिटर डिटेल्स भी उसमें दी गई होती है और बेनिफिशियरी डिटेल्स तो डेफिनेटली दी गई होती है। या तो जिसको पैसा देना है आपके सप्लायर के ऊपर करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक को क्वेश्चंस होंगे, इसलिए वो पेमेंट रोक लेता है, या उसको आपके ऊपर या नेचर ऑफ पेमेंट के ऊपर कुछ सवाल होंगे, इसलिए वो पेमेंट रोक लेता है। जब वो पेमेंट रोकता है तो वो अपने सवाल 48 आवर्स के अंदर बैंक को भेजता है। बैंक T+1 पे काम करती है हमेशा, बैंक हमें T+1 पे ये सवाल भेजता है। तो अगर पैसा मंडे को भेजा गया तो ट्यूसडे वेडनेसडे को रोका गया, तो थर्सडे को ही हमें पता चलेगा कि पैसा रोका गया है। जैसे ही हमें पता चलता है कि पैसा रोका गया है, आप भी हमें बताते हो कि मेरे बेनिफिशियरी को पैसा नहीं मिला है। वी हैव अ स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर टू हैंडल सच केसेस। यहां पर देखिए, पैसा आपका 100% सेफ है, ये पैसा कहीं गुमा नहीं है। ओके, अनलेस एंड अनटिल पीपल ट्राई एंड एक्ट स्मार्ट। यहां पे हमने एक दो केसेस देखे हैं कि पैसा अटक गया करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक में, इंडियन ट्रैवल एजेंट ने बहुत बड़ा इशू क्रिएट किया, तो हमने एक डिपॉजिट दे दिया इंडियन ट्रैवल एजेंट को, पैसा अल्टीमेटली डीएमसी को भी मिल गया। अब इंडियन ट्रैवल एजेंट भी हमसे बात नहीं करता और डीएमसी कहता पैसा मिला ही नहीं। ये पॉसिबल ही नहीं है। बैंक हमें कंफर्म करता है कि हमने पैसा आगे भेज दिया है। मैं पब्लिक फोरम में बोल रहा हूं कि भाई, वी नो व्हाट इज द ट्रूथ, वी नो व्हाट इज द रियलिटी, वेयर द मनी इज स्टक, वी also know who is telling the truth and who is not telling the truth, but that's aside. करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक के डिले की वजह से आपका पैसा डिले होता है। इट इज नॉट फ्लाईरेमिट और द इंडियन बैंक इन्वॉल्व। आपको आपके हाथ में अगर स्विफ्ट आ गई, दैट मीन्स फ्लाईरेमिट एंड इंडियन बैंक जॉब हैज बीन डन। बियॉन्ड दिस इट इज इन द हैंड्स ऑफ द करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक। हाँ, आप कह सकते हो कि फ्लाईरेमिट ने रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ली थी, इंडियन बैंक ने रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ली थी, बट दीज आर थिंग्स व्हिच आर बियॉन्ड आवर कंट्रोल। इट इज समथिंग लाइक ट्रैवल एजेंट तो ट्रैवल टिकट इशू कर सकता है, एयरक्राफ्ट टाइम पे उड़े ना उड़े, चले ना चले, कैंसिल हो, एयरक्राफ्ट टाइप चेंज हो जाए, सीट अपग्रेड हो जाए, डाउनग्रेड हो जाए, सीट सेलेक्ट जो की गई है वो टूटी निकले, वो कैसे भी निकले, उसमें ट्रैवल एजेंट का क्या कंट्रोल है? आपका कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है उसमें। करेक्ट, आपने सब कुछ कर दिया, यू हैव पेड द मनी टू द एयरलाइन, everything has been done from your side. If the actual service by the airline is not given, then what can you do? Yes, you are responsible to coordinate. Yes, you are responsible to pacify your customers and to find a solution with the airline. Exactly similar way, FlyRemit is always in touch with the customers. Whenever a no credit comes or a delay credit, as they call it, comes, you inform your account manager. Your account manager will immediately report it to the bank. The bank will take its own sweet time, usually 3 to 5 working days minimum. और अगर टाइमिंग डिफरेंसेस हो तो it will go beyond that. Let's say it is a 12-hour timing difference between us and them. It will go beyond that as well. So on an average, from the time it gets reported to the time it gets resolved, it is an average of 8 to 10 working days जहाँ पे ये resolve होता है, and 99.9% केसेस में ये resolve हो जाता है। पैसा बेनिफिशियरी को मिल जाता है या करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक रिजेक्ट कर देता है ट्रांजैक्शन, वापस हमें आ जाता है और हम आपको क्रेडिट कर देते हैं पेमेंट। सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड एज दैट। पैसा किसी का घूमता नहीं है, एक्सेप्ट इन केसेस वेयर डीएमसी एंड द ट्रैवल एजेंट collude with each other, report a delay credit and say कि हमें पैसा नहीं मिला. That is dishonesty by the two parties. और ये parties वो ट्रैवल एजेंट ग्रुप में भी जाते हैं और झूठ झूठ कहानियां लिखते हैं कि भाई फ्लाईरेमिट हमारा पैसा खा गया, फ्लाईरेमिट ने ऐसा किया, फ्लाईरेमिट ने वैसा किया. I challenge the entire community on this webinar that अगर कोई एक आदमी, एक ट्रैवल एजेंसी कह सके कि in our history of FlyRemit we have taken monies without an explanation, or we have not delivered on our commitments, I am willing to come and listen to whatever you have to say. That is a proud record of the Team FlyRemit. Each and every individual in this organization is very proud of maintaining this record. We are in the business of money to money. We are in the business of providing technology for travel remittances. We work with reputed banks and regulated institutions. We ensure the highest level of comfort is given to the customers. But ये delayed credit जब आता है, it is obvious कि customer को थोड़ा uneasy feel होता है. But don't worry, we supply the required additional info to the bank within the same day as the query is raised, and twice daily the customer, that is you yourself, the travel agent partners of ours, get an update from us. ऐसे हुआ क्या? कुछ होता नहीं है. The update will be, sir, no update का मतलब कि मैंने चेक किया है, कोई correspondent बैंक से reply नहीं आया है. That is the update. अगर आप सोच रहे हो कोई नया बात हो, कुछ नहीं, या तो पैसा क्रेडिट होगा या नहीं होगा, या कोई एडिशनल डॉक्यूमेंट मांगेगा या नहीं मांगेगा, बस यही है. Just to ensure and to give you comfort that we are on top of it, we are not forgetting your file. We ensure that twice a day we get in touch with you and we send you an update. वो update is meaningless to certain clients. जैसे कि भाई आप मुझे कॉल करते हो, आप मुझे व्हाट्सएप करते हो, मुझे ईमेल करते हो, लिखते हो नो अपडेट. सर जब नो अपडेट है तो नो अपडेट है. एटलीस्ट we checked कि कोई अपडेट है and then we came back and told you that कोई अपडेट नहीं है. Understand that it is beyond our control. Put yourself into our shoes as the example I gave you and you will clearly understand this. So ये कोई बहुत बड़ा issue नहीं है. It is 1% of the transactions, or probably less than that, is getting affected. But I thought to give clarity about this as well. The next is short credit. आपने बैंक चार्जेस पे कर दिया, आपके बेनिफिशियरी को फुल अमाउंट क्रेडिट नहीं हुआ, और यू रेज अ कंप्लेंट विद FlyRemit कि जब मैंने बैंक चार्जेस पे कर दिया, इसके बावजूद भी मुझे पूरा पैसा वहां पर क्यों नहीं मिला. When I have paid full bank charges as per FlyRemit's demands or as per your invoice of this beneficiary, still the full amount is not being credited to the overseas supplier. What is the issue? Have you deducted the amount or have you taken that amount? Nobody. We don't do any of that hanky-panky stuff. ठीक है, आपके $5 रख के, आपके $10 रख के, neither are we going to become rich nor are you going to become poor. It is unprofessional. We don't do this. It is not part of our DNA. We are a transparent organization, and till today the transparency that we give, the industry has not been able to match it. We are absolutely transparent and we keep on giving further transparency as well. So in certain countries, ये short credit आता क्यों है? In certain countries there may be more than one correspondent bank. If that happens, the second correspondent bank may charge a bank fee for processing the payment. तो जो हम आपको बैंक चार्ज बोलते हैं वो सिंगल करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक का होता है. इंडियन बैंक टू लेट्स से JP Morgan टू सिटी बैंक, लेट्स से टू Emirates NBD बैंक इन दुबई. यहाँ पे JP Morgan का जो बैंक इंटरबैंक और करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक चार्ज है, वो बैंक चार्ज ऑलरेडी हम लोग कलेक्ट कर लेते हैं, इनको पहुंचा देते हैं, so that they don't deduct anything and they give full credit to your ultimate beneficiary. अब यहाँ पे सिचुएशन बदल सकती है. इंडियन बैंक ने JP Morgan को पैसा दिया, JP Morgan ने एक और करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक को पैसा दिया, लेट्स से दैट इज सिटी बैंक. सिटी बैंक ने ट्रांजैक्शन को प्रोसेस करने के लिए उनको बैंक चार्जेस नहीं मिले, वो अपना बैंक चार्ज डिडक्ट कर लेता है, लेट्स से डिडक्ट्स बैंक चार्ज एंड द बैलेंस ही विल सेंड इट टू योर ओवरसीज बेनिफिशियरी हु इज Emirates NBD. यहां पर आपको शॉर्ट क्रेडिट आता है. इन दिस सिनेरियो यू विल गेट अ शॉर्ट क्रेडिट. सो इफ देयर आर मल्टीपल करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक्स, there is a possibility that you get a short credit. These are definitely beyond our control, but FlyRemit team tracks all of these things and they can give you a solution that although आपके इनवॉइस में लिखा है कि $20 बैंक चार्ज पे करना है या $30 बैंक चार्ज पे करना है, हमारे एक्सपीरियंस में, हमारे बैंकिंग रूट में इंडियन बैंक और बीच में 2 करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक हमें दिखते हैं प्रीवियस ट्रांजैक्शन से. इसलिए आप 20 मत दीजिए, आप 40 दीजिए टू एंश्योर दैट योर बेनिफिशियरी गेट्स फुल क्रेडिट. आजकल इतना फाइन मार्जिन पे सब लोग काम कर रहे हैं कि अगर $20 बेनिफिशियरी को नहीं पहुंचते हैं ना, वो बहुत हंगामा करता है. आपका पूरा टोर रोक देगा, आपका फाइल रोक देगा. सो डोंट क्रिएट कंफ्यूजन इन योर माइंड्स. वी आर हियर टू हेल्प यू in terms of creating this process, but remember, this is again a system which is beyond our control. It is, since the transaction is going on SWIFT, there is no such mechanism to control this correspondent bank charges. So short credit मिल सकता है. एक और एक सिनेरियो है शॉर्ट क्रेडिट का, वो ये है कि करेंसी कन्वर्जन अप्लाई हो, कि आपने लोकल करेंसी में पैसा भेजना है, और इंडियन बैंक डू नॉट सपोर्ट ट्रांजैक्शंस इन लोकल करेंसी, तो वो यूएसडी में जाएगा, और यूएसडी जब वो लोकल बैंक क्रेडिट करेगा लोकल करेंसी में, वहां पे एक और एक कन्वर्जन चार्ज हो जाएगा। तो करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक एक बार कॉस्ट ले सकता है अपनी बैंकिंग फीस, दैट इज रीजन नंबर 1। रीजन नंबर 2 इज क्रॉस करेंसी कन्वर्जन चार्जेस if the network is built that way. FlyRemit does not benefit out of any of these things. We do not make money out of any of these things. These are beyond our control, and it is gone to the overseas beneficiary. Overseas beneficiary banks, उनका जो setup है, उनके correspondent setup से 1, 2 है या single setup है from India, then ideally there should be no deductions. If their local currency and the currency pair available from India for remittance is the same, then again there should be no short credits. But if both of these things or one of these things fail or is different, there is likelihood that there will be a short credit. It's beyond the control of FlyRemit team. The last issue is rejection and refund. This is a very simple, straightforward thing. If documents are defective or do not satisfy compliance requirements, transactions can be rejected. इसीलिए हम ये वेबिनार कर रहे हैं, ताकि आप ये वेबिनार देखें, सिंपल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड स्लाइड डालें। मैंने कोई फेमा का ज्ञान नहीं दिया यहाँ पे आपको, मैंने कोई लंबी कहानियां नहीं बताई, मैंने आपको कोई ट्रांजैक्शन का एक्सपर्ट नहीं बनाया। आपको कैसे ट्रांजैक्शन करना है और स्पेसिफिक डॉक्यूमेंटेशन क्या चाहिए, वो उसके बारे में मैंने आपको बताया है। चाहिए तो मैं ये सारी स्लाइड शेयर क्या कहते हैं, ये अवेलेबल रहेगा यूट्यूब पे, ये आपको व्हाट्सएप भी कर दिया जाएगा, ये आपको ईमेल भी कर दिया जाएगा, इसका रिकॉर्डिंग प्रोड्यूस करके। डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट, मैं क्विकली वंस एंड फॉर ऑल भी आपको लेके जा सकता हूँ स्लाइड से, बट वी विल टेक द क्वेश्चंस एंड आंसर्स फर्स्ट एंड देन कम बैक टू इट इफ रिक्वायर्ड। तो डॉक्यूमेंट्स इसलिए रिजेक्ट होते हैं कि आप ट्रांजैक्शन इसलिए रिजेक्ट होता है बिकॉज योर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन मे बी डिफेक्टिव। When it is defective, a refund is issued within 1 business day. But if the refund is through a payment gateway, आपने पेमेंट FlyRemit को किया था through a payment gateway और वहीं से वापस जा रहा है, तो payment gateways take 5 to 7 working days. It is their tag, we can't control that. Although we follow up with the payment gateway and we ensure that the payment is credited. Not that we have given instruction to the payment gateway to refund, we don't care as to what is happening. No, we track that payment and then see whether it has got credited to the ultimate beneficiary or not. That's the level of customer support we do. Yes, there have been concerns that we may not be available on call or we may not be responding. It is because multiple things are coming in. And to avoid the call duration and to avoid the call queries, ताकि हमारा अकाउंट मैनेजर आपको जेन्युइन प्रॉब्लम नहीं आप उन्हें कॉल करें और उनकी हेल्प मांगे, इसीलिए ये वेबिनार किया गया है। इसीलिए आप 200, 250, 300 लोग have come into this platform today to look into कि भाई ट्रांजैक्शंस कैसे किया जाए और क्या क्या चीजें ध्यान रखनी है। अगर आप चीजों को ध्यान रखोगे तो ट्रांजैक्शन बहुत ही फास्ट होंगी, बहुत ही स्मूथ होंगी और फटाफट होंगी, अनलेस एंड अंटिल देयर इज डिसरप्शन एट द बैंकिंग एंड। FlyRemit के एंड पे कोई डिसरप्शन नहीं होता है। वी हैव बैकअप प्लान्स, वी हैव multiple redundancies in our place. We very rarely has it happened that delays have happened due to a technical glitch on FlyRemit's technical platform. We have a very robust platform. Any which way, अगर रिफंड होता, अगर रिजेक्शन होता है आपका ट्रांजैक्शन, प्लीज नोट, और वो डिस्क्लेमर भी दिया गया है रेट ब्लॉक करने से पहले कि अगर ट्रांजैक्शन रिजेक्ट होता है, अप्रोक्सीमेटली 2% इज गेट्स डिडक्टेड फ्रॉम द वैल्यू दैट यू हैव पेड टू FlyRemit। ये क्यों होता है? FlyRemit 2% क्यों चार्ज करता है? There are 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is आपने एक रेट मार्केट में लिया है, वो रेट को हमें सेल करना पड़ता है क्योंकि वो रेट यूटिलाइज नहीं होगा फॉर डूइंग द ट्रांजैक्शन। According to the regulation, that rate has to be sold off. तो buy price और sell price में हमेशा डिफरेंस होता है। ये लॉस जो है, this 2% covers that loss. Simple and straightforward as that. The other element as to why we charge this 2% is क्योंकि हमने आपका ट्रांजैक्शन लिया, आपको सपोर्ट दिया, आपका ट्रांजैक्शन रिव्यू किया, तो हमारा जो कॉस्ट है वो लग चुका है इसके ऊपर। एंड वी हैव प्रोटेक्टेड योरसेल्फ and ourselves by rejecting the transaction because it has defective documentation. Now, if it is defective documentation, we need to be compensated for our effort, and that's why this 2% charge incorporates all of these things. Majority of it is to cover the loss that we make on the sale of the transaction. Now, it is also a regulatory violation. It is a regulatory violation. It is a violation of the local laws कि आपके पास डॉक्यूमेंटेशन डिफेक्टिव था, आपको पता है, तभी भी आपने आके यहाँ पे रेट ब्लॉक लिया। It is not something which is legally permitted in under the laws of India. तो अगर आपके डॉक्यूमेंटेशन सही है तभी आके आप रेट ब्लॉक लीजिए. Otherwise, go through this webinar, contact our account manager, get used to the system, then come to the transaction, and it will become a very, very smooth and delightful experience for you. We've had the privilege of working with more than 500 DMCs globally. Lots of large and big players are also looking at us to partner with us because of the trust that the travel agent community has built on FlyRemit. We are going. We're today servicing more than 15,000 travel agents now, and we have serviced close to $500 million US. All of this would not have been possible without your trust and confidence. Thank you so much, and I will now move on to the chat function and look at the questions. Oh, tons of questions have come in. That means people are paying attention. The last question has come: defective documentation. Defective documentation के examples क्या हैं? डिफेक्टिव डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के एग्जांपल्स ये हैं कि आपने सेम जैसे मैंने बोला पैन कार्ड एक पैन नंबर एक बंदे का अब्दुल का दिया हुआ है, ठीक है, पेमेंट आई है XYZ से आपको, दैट इज डिफेक्टिव डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. पैन कार्ड अब्दुल का दिया हुआ है, अब्दुल का कॉन्सेंट अवेलेबल नहीं है आपके पास, दैट इज डिफेक्टिव डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. पैन कार्ड अब्दुल का दिया गया है, पेमेंट आई है अब्दुल के कॉर्पोरेट से, दैट इज डिफेक्टिव डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. What means defective? What defective documentation means कि rules के खिलाफ कोई भी काम होगा वो defective documentation होगा. It doesn't mean कि भाई इसमें stamp नहीं लगा है तो scan टेढ़ा है, ये ऐसा टेढ़ा है, ये वो defective documentation नहीं, वो defective presentation है, ठीक है. Defective documentation is something which is missing. और क्या missing होगा? इतनी simple चीजें हैं, ABC follow करिए, हो गया काम आपका. MICE में 4 documents 4 लिस्ट है, वो follow करिए, काम हो गया आपका. सिंपल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड B2B कंसोलिडेटर है, आप कंसेंट उठाते रहिए पीछे से, कहानी खत्म. दैट इज हाउ वी विल क्लीन अप द इंडस्ट्री एंड दैट्स हाउ वी विल बी इन अ बेटर प्लेस टू गो अहेड. ओमकार has sent a question, consent letter format please. Shahrukh, just post it over here itself so that people can look at the consent letter here, or else get in touch with the account manager. An account manager is 100% more than happy to explain you all of these things, as well as handhold your transaction and give you all the formats. Somebody has asked me a question that how to update my KYC while one director is NRI and another is Indian, as here NRI director don't have Aadhaar. NRI director is also required to have an Aadhaar. If you are a non-resident Indian, you are eligible to take an Aadhaar. According to the KYC regulations, we need to make an identification of the owners of the company, and Aadhaar is a very good identifier of the ownership of the individual who is the owner of the company. Hence, this is not something which we can waive. It is something which has to be given. It is mandatory. I believe the banks will also be asking for the same documentation. Someone saying that if you plan to change the bank account to us, please let us know on email in advance. We will do that. That's noted. Payment made by parents or relatives. So what about TCS on this? Payment made by relative or parents, TCS is applicable on them as well. उनका पैन अगर लगा रहे हैं तो उनके पैन के हिसाब से कैलकुलेट होगा. अगर अपने रिलेटिव का पैन लगा रहे हैं तो रिलेटिव के पैन के हिसाब से कैलकुलेट होगा. Whichever pan is punched, that pan needs to be taken into account, whether it's a standalone service or a package program. Standalone service के लिमिट्स मैंने बता दिया आपको, तो पैकेज प्रोग्राम के लिमिट्स मैंने आपको बता दिए. That's how it goes. How to do remittance for NRI booking? How to do remittance for NRI booking? Shahrukh, are we currently doing non-resident Indians who do not have PANs? No.
No, sir, we are not doing it.
Yeah, it's mandatory that if you're an Indian, you need to submit your PAN. Whether you're resident in India or you're not resident in India, just submit your PAN. If somebody is a foreigner who's not an Indian, how to do a remittance? Shahrukh, what do you say?
As of now, we are not doing foreigner remittances. NRI remittances is not allowed.
The banks are not processing it as of now.
The banks are not processing it.
There is a possibility that they will allow it.
Yes, once they allow it, we will again send a notification to all the travel agents that yes, we are back and we are doing this transaction. As of now, NRI and foreign national transactions are not allowed.
All right, sounds good. Vikas Rastogi is asking, if family of 3 are traveling, they all want to divide the amount into 3 PANs. Can you do that? Absolutely perfect. Family of 3 PANs है, 3 travelers है, 3 PAN holders है, brilliant. हरी कहानी खत्म. this is the fastest transaction will move and there will be no problem. 3 पैन कार्ड लगा रहे हो, कॉर्पोरेट पे कर रहा है, ट्रांजैक्शन इज डिफेक्टिव डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. कॉर्पोरेट से पेमेंट आई, कॉर्पोरेट माइस ही होगी. कॉर्पोरेट से पेमेंट आई, LRS नहीं होगी. सिंपल एज दैट. Shahrukh, you will have to send them the attachment. There is an option to send files. Okay,
Sure, I'll send that.
let me just go back to the questions. Okay. Remittance on behalf of guests which are not Indian nationals, we've taken it up. If it is Indian national, PAN is mandatory. If it is non-Indian national, as of now, the banks that we are working with are not processing foreigner passport-based transaction. But we are working on it. We're working on it. We used to do it earlier. There was a stoppage in the middle. We are working on it. As soon as we get a leeway or an approval, we'll start that off as well. Number of packs. Pinky says number of packs traveling is 5, but the person who's paying for the trip is only 1. Do we still need the PAN card of all 5 of them? No. Number of people traveling is 5. You have 1 person is paying for the trip. 1 PAN card is punched. This PAN card holder is given consent that I will pay for all the 5. I am okay with it. It's very simple. Because just answer it from your own side. This PAN card holder tomorrow will come back and question you that I should have been, मेरे PAN card पे सिर्फ मेरा ही ट्रैवल पंच करना चाहिए था आपको. जब ये नहीं करना है, जब आप नहीं कर रहे हो क्योंकि पैन होल्डर ने आपको बोला कि 5 का मेरे पैन पे ही डाल दो, तो लिखित में ले लीजिए ना. That's consent. Simple as that. Just say I so and so PAN holder will pay for these 4 people as well, whose passport numbers are these and who are traveling along with me. That's consent. Pass that to us. That is it. The biggest question which is coming in the chat function is non-resident Indian or foreigners remittances. Looks like we have to solve this very quickly then. We will take a note of this. Again, if passenger is overseas citizen, can we do the remittance? Yes, we will resume this foreigners passport thing subject to banks giving us approval. Payment made by parents or relative. What about TCS? I think we have taken that. If you plan to change the bank account, please let us know. Definitely will let us know. How do I update my KYC? I have given the answer for this. As you are in the industry for many years, how is cryptocurrency can solve this problem? Possibly. Cryptocurrency क्यों solve करेगा? बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो ये problem को solve कर सकती हैं. Whatever solution the Reserve Bank of India allows is what FlyRemit will work on. कल crypto permissible हो जाता है, तो we can use the crypto rail to do the cross-border payments. If the Reserve Bank of India allows that. As of now, it is only through banks. It is only through SWIFT. That's why we are using that. What about sponsored holiday? I have given the update on it. It's on the sponsored holidays का slide भी मैं आपको दे देता हूँ यहाँ पे वापस से, so that we can go through it while we take the other questions. This is the documentation required for sponsored holiday by the corporate. Nilay Barot, thank you. Says good presentation, comprehensively covering things. Please give your PPT afterwards into this email ID. Shahrukh, please note this email ID and send it to them. Although anybody who is registered will get this entire recording over email as well. Consent letter format, definitely your AM will be able to give it.
I've already attached the files.
You're attaching the files? Okay, yeah. You can see the red dot on the files. You can take it from there. Yeah, they also need the consent format as well. So you can put the consent format. Can you share the email or the transfer so that we can use them? We don't promote ADMC or BDMC. So if you already have a transaction with a DMC, it can be done faster through the FlyRemit platform. FlyRemit platform doesn't recommend you any DMC to work with. We don't do that because it's conflict of interest. We are purely concerned about payments and we are zealous about protecting the personal information and the competitive information of each DMC from the other. We are zealous about that. Remittance for NRIs is a big issue. Okay, Premlata says if 4 friends are traveling together, we need to take TCS for any one or all four. Payment received from all four different accounts. Payment received from four PAN cards punched, 4 TCS needs to be collected. क्योंकि PAN card 1 पे TCS अलग है, 2 पे अलग है, 3 पे अलग है, 4 पे अलग है. So you have to collect TCS from PAN card holder 1, PAN card holder 2, PAN card holder 3, PAN card holder 4. Because all 4 of them have also paid. If 4 people are traveling, 1 PAN card holder has paid, then you do the TCS only on 1 PAN. Because he is the person who says that I will be paying for all of these 4 and I am traveling also along with them, and please charge the TCS to me. It will go and only in his PAN. But if 4 people are traveling, 4 people are paying, 4 people are giving PAN cards, so 4 TCSs will have to be paid. I am making it visual so that you remember in your head. It's easier. I hope it is the message goes through. Charges you have to pay for remittance, it's clearly and transparently given on the platform before you make a payment. So, sare FX rates, sare charges, everything, including GST, is transparently displayed on the platform. हम लोग 7-8 साल से ये बोल रहे हैं. We still say that we are probably the only platform in the B2B space who is giving transparency, who is giving complete information, who is giving complete billing information, who is giving complete transparency on bank charges क्या है, our charges क्या लगा रहे हैं, FX rate क्या लगा है, सारा ट्रांसपेरेंट आपको सामने दिख जाता है and live basis पे दिख जाता है. We are still going along with our philosophy of giving you the best and the most transparent pricing and service and lead the industry on that side. Navish Gupta says best explanation on TCS rules, made it so simple. Thank you, Navish. Paresh Dave says excellent point to point presentation. Thank you. Acknowledged. Vimal Jain says, is TAN required? If any group going, then how can we handle for TCS if company is sponsoring? If company is sponsoring, get from the company TDS to be deducted on the payment that is received, that is getting received by you. अगर आपका 100 रुपए का बिल है, best is to collect 98, get 2 rupees deducted as TDS. कोई TCS का लफड़ा नहीं है. अगर आपने 100 rupees collect किया, तो then you will have to collect 5% or 20% depending on what it is and the value as per my table that I gave you. बहुत ज़्यादा complication हो जाता है. Corporates should deduct TDS, उनसे TDS deduct करा दीजिए और अपना पेमेंट ले लीजिए. TCS का कोई टेंशन नहीं रहेगा. Exotica says one family received amount from only one person. Same stuff, one family, one PAN, payment from one person. Everything is for that one person. So TCS is also for that one person. Consent is also from that one person, but for the family. उसे consent देना पड़ेगा कि मैं पूरी family को sponsor कर रहा हूँ और मेरे PAN पे आप punch कर दीजिए. Will FlyRemit do remittances even if particular vendor is not listed with you? Yes, we can do remittances to non-listed vendors with a slightly different process and a different KYC, different due diligence process. But from your perspective, yes, we can look into that. So please do give those kind of transactions as well, and our account manager will be able to help you. But for non-listed DMCs, for non-listed vendors, the transaction flow is slightly different. Because we do not have the assurance as to who the overseas supplier is. We don't have the KYC of the overseas supplier. There could be a potential issue with the overseas supplier. Hence, we are very, very careful on those transactions and there could be a slight delay. The best is to work with those suppliers who are already on FlyRemit or get your supplier to work with FlyRemit. It's free for them. Shweta says, if husband and wife are traveling, do we have to collect TCS separately from both of them? If husband and wife are traveling and both of them have given their own PAN cards, then yes, you have to collect TCS from both of them. Husband wife traveling, आपके पास 2 PAN card आए, दोनों ने separately pay किया आपको, दोनों का अलग TCS का count करना है आपको. हस्बैंड वाइफ ट्रैवलिंग, एक ही पैन आपके पास आया है और दोनों में से एक ने बोला है कि मेरे हस्बैंड के नाम पे डाल देना या मेरे वाइफ के नाम पे डाल देना, देन TCS liability is only for that one person. but for the entire amount of the booking. जितना पैन यूज कर रहे हो उतने अमाउंट पे TCS कलेक्ट होना चाहिए. Is TAN number mandatory for travel agent to file TCS? Yes, TAN number is mandatory to file for TCS. जो आपका पैन आता है, पैन के साथ ही TAN आ जाता है. अगर आपका बहुत पुरानी एंटिटी है, at that point in time TAN सेपरेटली अप्लाई करना पड़ता था, लेकिन आज के दिन में जब आपका पैन इश्यू होता है आपके एंटिटी पे, तो TAN भी इश्यू हो जाता है आपके एंटिटी पे. आपको सेपरेटली अप्लाई करने की जरूरत नहीं. अगर आपके पास नहीं है आपका TAN, get in touch with your chartered accountant or whoever has incorporated your company. He will definitely be able to get you your PAN very quickly. It's a non-cumbersome process. As a travel agent, you should definitely have a TAN number. नहीं तो it is a clear indication कि आप पैसा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं और TCS नहीं भर रहे हैं, क्योंकि आपके पास TAN नंबर ही नहीं है. PAN, the filer, the person who pays or files the TCS, उसका TAN जरूरी है. जिसके लिए भर रहे हैं उसका PAN जरूरी है. So आप एज अ ट्रैवल एजेंसी चला रहे हैं तो आपके पास टैन होना मैंडेटरी है ऑलमोस्ट, क्योंकि TCS तो लगना ही लगना है. Khushnur, I think you have a very good point. He says that bank charges you don't come to know till the very end. I believe at the start of the transaction itself, you can input the charges as per your invoice. Depending on the route, there is a minimum that we have fixed, that we have seen that below this value there is a deduction. Hence, we don't allow you to punch in any value below that threshold. But it is always recommended that you follow what your invoice says, that please add bank charges of $10, $5, $20, $40, jaise bhi, because they have a better experience as to what bank charges covers their cost. So follow the invoice. Sumita says, is full and final payment required? I'm not sure in what context you are saying this. I believe you're saying it that the payment has to be received from the travel agent, from the corporate who is sponsoring, or the customer who is giving his PAN. I mean, if there is even partial payment, it is still okay. Because here we can understand that there is a relationship, that this person has paid you, and then that a PAN has been submitted, and that on that PAN the remittance has been has to be executed. So even if there is a partial payment, it is okay. You don't need to have a full and final payment. I'm not sure if I'm getting the name right. Jidais Yasa Bhoi, okay, has a very good question. For MICE, we have to extend credit to the corporate client. Hence, for source of funds, we may not be able to show the credit in our bank account in cases where we pay the advances on behalf of the client. How to address this issue? These transactions are best conducted directly via your bank. Any non-banking remittance company like ours will have a difficult time understanding कि भाई ये transaction genuine है या नहीं, and you probably will be wasting your time with people like us for such kind of transactions. कि जहाँ where in cases where you have not received funds from your sponsoring company, it is best to process these transactions through the bank, because the bank has many other ways of and has better control over you than we have. If you have funded, it is funded account, that is, it is prepaid by the corporate, then you come to us and we will give you a very smooth and simple solution for you to remit the monies out. Yes, it is a loss of business for us. I do not want to take on a transaction. None of my team members want a transaction that has to be taken on, which we know will require further due diligence, will require further enhancement of clarity. It is just going to irritate you and is going to delay the transaction. And at the end of the day, you're probably going to withdraw the transaction and go to the bank and pay a very hefty charge to the bank because it's last minute. So it is my honest and humble advice that for such MICE transactions which have not been sponsored, which has not been paid by the sponsor, and you are making an advance payment, please do this transaction through your banker and negotiate a rate. Not sure how successful you will be on that, but that's the best way of doing it. Shushti saying, what if the company or any corporate deduct TDS on bills and its overseas package? So we travel agent also need to collect TCS and file? Please suggest. No, as I said, if on any payment TDS has been deducted, TDS has been deducted, then TCS is not applicable. TCS in MICE is applicable or not? TCS in MICE is not applicable. Only TDS is applicable because this is not an LRS transaction. For students, TCS rule, I did not take that up over here because FlyRemit does not do education transactions, and I wanted this to be a very focused discussion for travel agents. Give more insight on standalone travel, Jahan Bhai. Jahan Habib S is saying give more insight on standalone travel. Standalone travel, जैसे मैंने बताया, either one service only, either flight or visa or ticket or attractions or land package or hotel. It has to be one service and the payment should be done to one beneficiary for one service at a single point in time. Then it is a standalone service. वहाँ पर 10 लाख तक exemption है, TCS नहीं लगेगा. The exemption is 10 lakh per PAN. It is not per client. It is per PAN. For the purpose of the government of India and income tax, everything is linked to the PAN. It's per PAN. Lots of questions on standalone. I've taken that. Maximum by when can we remit after travel? It is always best to remit within the same financial year, and it is always best to remit it within 15 to 20 days. Transactions which have which have an invoice which are like a month prior or 2 months prior always go under enhanced due diligence, and you will be required to submit multiple documentations to prove that this travel has indeed happened. There we may even go ahead and ask you that क्योंकि back इनवॉइस बहुत दिन पहले का है, ट्रैवल हो चुका है. जब ट्रैवल हो चुका है तो द बेस्ट प्रूफ ऑफ ट्रैवल इज द स्टैम्प ऑन द पासपोर्ट. वी मे बी आस्किंग यू फॉर दैट. अब आपको फिर क्लाइंट के पास जाना पड़ेगा, ये पासपोर्ट का स्टैम्प लाना पड़ेगा, ये हमें सबमिट करना पड़ेगा, फिर हमारा कंप्लायंस ऑफिसर बोलेगा भाई ये जेन्युइन है नहीं है, समझ नहीं आ रहा. इतना टेंशन क्यों लेना मेरे भाई. इनवॉइस आई, रेमिटेंस कर दो, और जितना डिले करोगे उतना रुपी डिप्रिशिएट होता है, उतना आपको एक्सपेंसिव पड़ता है. अगर आप देखेंगे ये सीजन में अगर अभी रेट 87 के आसपास चल रहा है, देयर इज एक्सपेक्टेशन इन द मार्केट. आई एम नॉट स्पेकुलेटिंग, आई एम नॉट an authorized person to make this comment. Generally मैंने देखा है पिछले 7-8 साल से, जब से मैं रेमिटेंस बिजनेस में हूँ, कि सीजन टाइम में रुपी और डिप्रिशिएट होता रहता है. So make the payment as soon as possible. If you have the funds, just get done with it. क्योंकि डॉलर appreciate हो रहा है, रुपी depreciate हो रहा है, you will end up paying more only and more hassles because enhanced due diligence लग जाता है उसमें. See, there are questions which have a clear no as an answer, especially on the TCS side. I will not be taking those questions because it is not right to address them, to address or read those questions out in this forum. So if I have missed your question and if it is related to TCS, just assume that it is a question which cannot be answered over here. It is not right. Somebody is saying that they did flight tickets with travel agent A and they did hotel booking with travel agent B. Now in this, if usually the tickets are done and paid in Indian rupees, so there is no remittance involved. अगर ये scenario है, then remittance is only applicable on the other part of the booking, which is on the hotel booking that this travel agent is asking us. On the amount of hotel booking, since it is a stand-alone booking now, if it is less than 10 lakhs, no TCS is applicable. If it is more than 10 lakhs, 20% TCS is applicable. If on the same PAN, you have booked and remitted to a different travel agent, and on the same PAN, you have booked another standalone service with a different travel agent, it will get combined. The PAN holder have to give you disclosure that I have already utilized this. If he is not giving disclosure, then you assume that there is no such transaction which has happened in the past, and hence you are taking it at the lowest slab. Get this written down and take a signature of the customer. At the end of the day, travel agent is somebody who's in the middle. Why to take responsibility of customers and the banks? Just take whatever you're doing, whatever you're assuming, just write it down, take a signature or an email or a WhatsApp, document it and keep it on your file. End of story. Just be safe. If travel agent doesn't have TAN, please take a TAN. It's very simple and easy. So lots and lots of questions on TCS. Okay, I'm coming to the end of this Q&A. Okay, Piyush is asking a very good and interesting question. I am a wholesaler and my client is a travel agent. Yes, that is, you're a B2B consolidator and your client is a travel agency. Firstly, travel agent is not comfortable sharing client contact details. Obviously, he is not comfortable. That's why, can you get a paper consent from him? Just get a paper consent from him, so that anybody asks you for consent, you say this is the paper consent, because you know the name of the traveler, you know the PAN number. All these two information is required, and you know where the customer is going. The B2B wholesaler knows where the customer is going. These information is what has to be written in the PAN consent. We'll be happy to give you a format. Just take the PAN consent and go ahead. When these documents are not available is when we ask for mobile numbers, so that we can reach the end customer via an automated message and tell him that your PAN is being used. If he calls us back, and many instances people have called us back, that they have said, I have not given consent to the travel agent to use my PAN. In many, maybe hundreds of cases, we have got a call back. Shahrukh over here can give us more information. More than 100 people have called back in the last financial year, have said that this is something which I have not given consent to, and the travel agent has not been given consent to use my PAN. There have been instances where the PAN holder has no idea that who has used this PAN. He is not even traveling, still travel agents go ahead and use the PAN, and hence we have to ensure that the consent is available to the PAN holder. Now here, the second part of the concern that Piyush has put in is the remittance value is lower. The charge that you do to the customer is higher. Now it is not FlyRemit who is doing it. You yourself are punching in that value, that against a PAN, I want to report this value. This same amount inputs are going and being fed into the 26AS portal of the income tax department. From there, the customer is able to access. So FlyRemit has not done anything. It is you who has reported that value. That same value is being reported under 26AS, and that same value is being visible to the customer. If you want the customer to see some different value, put a different value for the remittances. When you are using the PAN, it should get combined and should not be more than the invoice value. Remember that. As of now, remittance value is $1,000, and you are putting the value against the PAN as 1,200. That will not be acceptable. It has to be 1,000 only. You got it? It is a mechanism which the trade forums has to take up, that our margins are getting disclosed to the 26AS mechanism. If the trade associations could probably look into it. I'm reasonably sure that they are aware of this. I am reasonably sure that they are definitely working on this as well. We should get in touch with them to take it up with the relevant ministries, that being a travel agent, my margins are getting disclosed through this 26AS facility. What is the solution for this? Randall says, what about ABC? ABC is very simple. A is PAN consent, B is proof of travel, C is source of funds. All right, I'm skipping a couple of questions which have already been taken. B2B declarations have been submitted. You can definitely ask the AM for all of these things. The consent forms have been submitted. Pramod Tonsekar says, sir, what you are explaining is difficult to follow, and in short, we'll be just doing documentation only in one group a year. Pramod, I would suggest that you get more efficient. There are 15,000 travel agents who are using the FlyRemit platform, and they are able to do hundreds of transactions a month and in a year. We've had travel agents who are doing more than 50 to 100 transactions in a month with us, with the documentation that I have explained to you. So it is what it is. If it takes you a year to do one package, it takes you a year to do one package. It is what it is. This is the best that we could do. We have digitized all of these things. Imagine doing all of these things with the bank. It is 10x more difficult. Imagine doing all of these things with other ADs. It is probably a couple of X more difficult, and it's all paper-based and it's time-consuming. This is completely digital, transparent, efficient, and quick. Kindly speak in English. I've been speaking both. I can take. If you have anything that you missed that I spoke in Hindi or Urdu, please post it, and I'll be happy to explain this in English as well. Thank you. Okay. Somebody says, what if the customer is willing to pay by cash? Customer is willing to pay by cash. You can't do anything about it. Remittances can't happen if the source of funds is through cash. What if client insists on cash? We insist that we cannot do this remittance. That's our answer. Okay, there are private comments also which says that what about B2B agents collecting in cash? Anything which happens in cash will not be. We cannot do anything about it because it's in cash. All right. Fan formats have been signed, given. Okay. I have gone through all of these questions. Most of it has been answered. Let me move on to the Q&A. Let me take the question from Omkar. If I am sending $200 to DMC and I'm selling to customer at $300, then which amount I have to add in consent letter? Obviously, you have to take the consent letter of the amount that you're charging to the customer, so that you cover the maximum. So in your question, if 200 is the remittance value, but 300 is the value that you're charging from the customer, the consent should be for 300. Rana Sahib, definitely the PPT of the presentation will be available on YouTube, as well as we'll send it to all of you by email of all those guys who registered for this webinar, and we have the email IDs already. Question: if separately booking hotel and land package, TCS applicable on all service? No, if you're booked separately, you're paying it separately, possibly at different points in time. If you to the same vendor, TCS is not applicable because these are stand-alone payments which are being done. On the final Swift copy, in the section, I think 71A, there is a mention of the travel agency name as well. If it is not there, please get in touch with your account manager and we'll get it corrected for future transactions. So travel agency names are definitely part of the Swift copies that are getting published by us. Shahrukh, can you confirm, or is there any disconnect on that?
Sir, sometimes the bank doesn't go for it, but yes, most of the time we have this option available. And please let us know if it is very important for you to get the name on the Swift copy. So we will ask the bank and we will give a special instruction to the bank that this name should be available. But sometimes it gets missed by the bank because of the characteristics are limited there.
Correct. I think there are the limitation on characters as to what characters can come in. So we do send every detail to the bank, including your company name to the bank to publish on the Swift. But let's say if it is a big name, the computer system sometimes truncate it or sometimes just completely eliminate it. Now, if it is definitely mandatory for you to have that information mentioned in the Swift copy, please do let your account manager know, and we will pass a special request to the bank while processing your transaction that ensure that this transaction has the agent name on the Swift copy. So we are all in for this kind of service. Question number 15, CA and CB. When you remit through bank, you may require this. Yes, when you remit through bank, a 15 CA Part D is required, which requires a CA certificate, which requires costing money. If you remit through FlyRemit, a 15 CA Part D is not required. It's cheaper, it's faster. So use FlyRemit. Don't use the bank. You don't have to go through all the hassles of 15 CA Part D. Sir, we do take consent from guest via call. Is that okay? If that is also okay, get us the call recording. Okay, similar questions. If someone is giving overseas tour gift to other person, then TCS applicable to paid person or traveling person? TCS is always applicable on the person paying it. So because the person paying it, unka PAN lag raha hai. From that point in time onwards, everything has to be linked to the PAN. Source of funds linked to the PAN. That is, this person should have paid you. This person should give consent to use his PAN, and this person will be liable to pay TDS to the travel agent, and travel agent will collect it from this person and pay it to the government. So everything is linked to the PAN that is being submitted. Can proprietor get TAN number? Yes, 100%. A proprietor can get a TAN number. We don't have TAN number because we don't have company registration. If you don't have a company registration or you don't have a TAN number, then the way you can do remittances with us as a freelancer as well, you can do a remittance with us. There is a separate process for it. Our account management team will be able to help you out with that. Is it mandatory to have a GST on our platform to do transactions? Shahrukh, what is the current process?
No, sir. If the travel agent is not having any GST and if he's paying to a registered supplier or a known supplier, if he's not registered on us, then yes, we can facilitate him and we can get his transaction done.
But if it is to an unknown supplier or a first-time supplier, then GST is mandatory.
Then the GST is mandatory.
The remitter's GST, the travel agent's GST is mandatory.
Yes.
Okay, somebody's asked me a very detailed question. I think I should definitely take that, although we overshot the time by a lot, but I'll definitely run it quickly. Could you please tell the limit for foreign remittance, USD 2,500 or USD 250,000 per year? The limit is 250,000, 250,000 US dollars per PAN per financial year. If the second question is, if couple or family is traveling and the payment received to travel agent from all travelers' account, but they are saying to punch the TCS in one PAN card only. So is it right or wrong? If the consent has been given to punch the LRS in one PAN and the consent has been given to deduct TCS only on that one PAN, you can go ahead and do that because the person has voluntarily consented and the other people are his family members. Since they are family members, another family member can pay for them and give their PAN as well. Whoever is giving the PAN, TCS is applicable on that person itself. Question number 3. Could you please explain in what cases TDS is applicable along with TCS and in what cases only TDS is applicable in foreign payments? If TDS is applicable, TCS cannot be applied. It is not for travel remittances. It is a general income tax rule. If TCS is applied, TDS cannot be applied. Both of them are either or. So one of them will be applicable. That's it. Both cannot be applicable. This is a general rule of the Income Tax Act. Last is, could you explain how does FlyRemit work and how it is beneficial for travel agents as compared to other foreign remittances? Foreign remittance. FlyRemit is specialized in B2B travel remittances. We are specialized in ensuring that travel agents are able to access this platform and do remittances in a transparent manner. There are many benefits. I would definitely request you, it is for a separate session altogether. But when 15,000 travel agents are using us, we are having remitted about $500 million in the past 4 to 5 years. That shows the amount of trust that has been infused onto us by the travel agents, and there is some value proposition over here. So yes, it is digital, it's transparent, it's fair, it's quicker, it's faster, lesser documentation, simpler documentation. You have better communication. Many advantages. If it is a registered DMC, if you pay and the payment is confirmed, you don't need to wait for the SWIFT copy to come. The registered DMC will issue you with the service vouchers immediately. As soon as the payment is collected by FlyRemit, the registered DMC issues your vouchers as well. So many advantages. How should we check whether PAN card holder has exhausted his threshold LRS limit? There is no way that you can check that. Only the banks can check it. Arun is asked the question, give income tax clarification on package travel and standalone travel for TCS purposes. As I've explained, standalone is a single booking, either a hotel or a visa or a flight ticket or a local sightseeing. Any of these two things combined will be taken as a tour package program. A tour package program has a different TCS level, standalone has a different TCS applicable. Any two services combined will become an overseas tour package program. Individual services billed separately, paid separately at different points in time will not be considered as packaged program. Neil Vora is saying, I have done remittances. It's been at so much ease to do with FlyRemit. Thank you for that. I only want to know why there is no mention of my company name on final source copy. I think we've answered that. We mentioned it to the bank. The bank sometimes misses it. If it is absolutely mandatory for you, please do put a note to your account manager and we will ensure it is done. If it is not done, we'll come back to you with the reason as to why it is being not done so that the next transaction can be corrected, that the character issue was there or some technical issue has come. We will ensure that it is done in the next remittances. All right, people are asking the PPT that will be sent. Can you send top DMCs country-wise so that we can do business with them? Unfortunately, we do not promote DMCs. We are only payments partner to the DMCs and we are fair to any big or small. We give the same level of service and the same level of professionalism to everybody. We protect the data of the small DMCs from big DMCs from small DMCs. There is absolutely no way that we can suggest to you a list of DMCs that you can work with. Yes, you can see the list of DMCs which are working with FlyRemit. You can get better credibility that you can work with them because FlyRemit has done the KYCs. FlyRemit has looked into their background and has ensured that they are a genuine operator from the documents that they have submitted. So a DMC working with FlyRemit gives better assurance to customers and to travel agents to work with them because they've already onboarded them and we've done a thorough due diligence of them. Not from a service level, from an entity level. So a DMC on my platform, I cannot vouch for their services, but I am reasonably sure that they are good service providers because they have taken the step of coming together and working with FlyRemit and ensuring that they give the best service to their end customers as well. Question from Kedar regarding the 2% charge. He wants us to have a rethink. Definitely, we are all in for customer feedback. We will put this into our product discussion and we will review this as well. I have answered most of these current questions. Yes. Yes, there is a payment system called Ripple. There are more than 100 payment systems in the world. That's the payment system authorized and to be used by Indian residents according to FEMA and the RBI regulation is SWIFT. That is it. There is no other way. There is no other mechanism. If Ripple gets incorporated into the banking network via the 81 banks, we don't mind using it. Okay, there are a couple of repeat questions. Foreign passports, we have taken it. Non-PAN holders, we have taken the questions. Advance remittance before you have any documentation is something that we cannot do. Banks can do, but banks also do not do because they don't have. You can't have a documentation credit. That's a very, very risky thing to do. So you may say that you will submit the documentation to us subsequently, but as of now, if you don't have the documentation, we will not be able to do the remittance. We'll wrap it up in the next 10 minutes or less than that. Thank you for so many people to being here on this platform for so long. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. I think I have taken most of these questions. Again, standalone means I book a resort of Maldives, then TCS is applicable or not. If you book a resort in Maldives, it looks like a hotel accommodation, right? That means it's a standalone service of hotel accommodation. Yes, there is a peculiarity of Maldives booking of resorts that they also arrange transportation. but it is a standalone booking. It is one single booking. It is not, you're not combining multiple services. Yes, if you combine two different resorts, okay, then there might be a question, there might be an issue over there. But if you're paying it to one single resort, yes, they are providing a seaplane transfer along with it, or they're providing a speedboat transfer along with it. Yes, it means it is land transfer plus accommodation. Plus, if they're providing an all-inclusive package out there in Maldives, will it be considered a separate thing? I don't think so, because they give you a single consolidated price in multiplied by the passengers. This looks to be a standalone booking. In my opinion, I am not a tax expert. Yes, I do have interest in this area. This is not my legal opinion or a binding opinion, but it looks to be a standalone service if you're booking a resort in Maldives. We've discussed about the margins being disclosed. We disclose about margins being disclosed as something that we can't do. Yes, the IT rule is the same. The definition of tour package program continues to be the same. There is no change on that. If you are doing a Dubai visa, or if you can supply us, somebody is asking me, but a B2B agent may have hundreds of visas transactions in a week, so each and every visa need to take consent. Over here, if you can just supply us the visa copy, then we understand that there is no requirement for a consent, because the payment is only for the visa purpose, and the amount of the visas are also smaller amounts, and we understand that you would have taken the consent, because for processing the visas you need the PAN card of the holder. Hence, in these scenarios, if you give us the visa copies, that should be good enough for us, and we can skip the PAN consent, direct PAN consent over here. So here we're trying to make it easier. As long as we get the comfort, we are making it easier. So it's not like this is the process, just follow the process whether it makes sense or not. No, a lot of thinking has gone into it, a lot of iterations have been done into it, and that's why people trust FlyRemit for coming up with easier solutions and simpler solutions. Soliman is asking, I'm a travel agent in Egypt and I need to make an account to collect my payments through your system. Most welcome, Soliman. Please get in touch with our relationship managers. There's a slide also ahead of this which will give you all the details of whom to contact. Here you go. Please note down these numbers and these contact numbers. All of these handsome dudes, they all work with me. They are the strength of FlyRemit. They are the guys who are customer facing, and they are the ones who have the best knowledge, better than me as well. So please do get in touch with them for escalated queries or to get in touch with us. Otherwise, you will be assigned an account manager. An account manager is definitely having much more knowledge, because he is having a daily experience and interaction with the travel agents. So account manager is dedicated to you, but this is the escalation matrix as well, that you can get in touch with my team, with my all-star team. I'm very proud of that. All right. Somebody says, we update the client orally that we are using the PAN. Is it okay? Have a record. It's always good to have a record. All right. Let me just go back to the bottom. If client has crossed 10 lakhs threshold, if he did not tell us and I collect TCS at 5%, then what we should do? Just get a declaration, as I said, that client is saying that he has not crossed the threshold of 10 lakhs on the TCS, and hence 5% is applicable to him. Just put his PAN number, take that consent, get it on email, and then you take TCS at 5%. You have no way of finding out what is the actual TCS liability on a particular client of yours. So you'll have to go by what the client declares to you. What are the remittance charges we put? All of the charges are disclosed transparently on the platform once you do the transaction before payment. All right, I think the Q&A section is almost done. It is done. Let me get back to the chat. Is there any solution of margins not opening up while doing invoicing and in 26 AS? I don't think so. There is any legal method of doing it. If you say that you will remit including gross, FEMA regulations say that any remittance which has to be done for any payments, you should deduct your commissions and then remit. So that is also not an option. I don't see any option as of now. There's a big question which has come on a private thing, but the last thing I can read is there a way you can make payment through FlyRemit without entering the PAX number? If you have the consents available, then we don't need the passenger's number. So please get in touch with our account manager and they can give you a solution. If we are satisfied the consent is available and the consent is adequate and has been genuinely taken, then we don't need the mobile number and of the end customer. Shahrukh, can you just type these numbers? Their presentation slide is too small is what they're saying. If you can expand it, you probably will be able to see it. But can you just put the names and the mobile numbers on the chat function?
Sure, I'll do that, sir.
All right, thanks a lot, guys, for the amazing support. We still have 100+ people who are here. I think the questions are getting repeated. And there is a huge amount of confusion, it looks to me, on two elements. One is foreigners packages and TCS. I believe there is a requirement of doing one more session, a simple, effective session on TCS. Happy to do it. Shahrukh and Raman can coordinate with the travel agent community, and we can probably in the next 2-3 weeks we will come up with another session on TCS and TDS applicable. Dedicated session on TCS and TDS. I will talk about education, TCS and TDS as well. Happy to support you. Look forward to your commitment and your support during the upcoming travel season. We are fully prepared. We have enhanced a lot of our services. We are completely geared up to service you in your travel season. So keep your KYC documents ready. The ABC documentation, as simple as that. MICE ke 4 documentation, keep that ready. If all of this is in place, you will have an amazing experience with FlyRemit. Thank you for the support. Thank you for making us a significant player in this space in a very short time. We look forward to your support, and we always look forward to feedback. And it is always a pleasure to give and to do such knowledge sessions with you. Thank you so much. Take care. Have an amazing holiday season, upcoming holiday season, and a fantastic next quarter, which is the flagship quarter for us as a travel agent. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.